If your company is seeking investment from foreign investors, you may wish to conduct your offering under Regulation S. Regulation S offers exemption from registration and prospectus delivery requirements of Section 5 of the Securities Act. The Securities Act requires registration of every offer and sale of securities unless an exemption applies. Failure to comply with the Securities Act can result in severe penalties, including fines and imprisonment. There are two safe harbors under Regulation S. The first is the issuer safe harbor, which I will be discussing in this video, and the second is the resale safe harbor. The two basic conditions for the issuer safe harbor are that the offer and sale of the securities must be in an offshore transaction, and there must be no directed selling efforts in the United States. Let's look at the first requirement, that the offer be made in an offshore transaction. This means that the offer cannot be made to a U.S. person, and at the time the buyer originates the order, the buyer must not be in the U.S., or the issuer must reasonably believe that the buyer is not in the U.S. The second basic condition of no directed selling efforts refers to advertisements, articles in certain types of United States periodicals, seminars, mailings, and other similar marketing activities. These must not be directed to U.S. persons. If you're posting information online that is directed to U.S. investors, for example, if you're doing concurrent offerings to U.S. investors and foreign investors, in some cases you will need to ensure that foreign persons cannot access those selling efforts. So for example, if you have a website, you would want to include prominent language that states that the investment is open to U.S. investors only, and you may want to use IP addresses to preclude foreign investors from accessing the offering materials. Now, if you're doing concurrent offerings where your U.S. offering is exempt from registration and also permits general solicitation, you may not need to take those steps. However, the Securities and Exchange Commission has not clearly stated that this is the case, so it may be a best practice to clearly separate out your offerings between U.S. and foreign investors. To complicate matters somewhat, there are three categories of offerings under Regulation S, and these categories each impose different prohibitions on resale of the securities. For example, certain time frames in which the securities may not be sold to a U.S. person. The purpose of Regulation S generally, and this part of the rule specifically, are to prevent unregistered securities from being brought back into the U.S. And so it's important that you understand the complexities of Regulation S. And as you can see, there are many complexities, and it would benefit your company to consult with an attorney to ensure that your offering is compliant with the Securities Act generally and Regulation S specifically.